I always find myself coming back to Evangelion and wondering, how can a mecha anime speak so loudly about loneliness, responsibility, and that fear of growing up we all pretend we don't have? Today, we're going to break down the entire story of this anime, from Shinji's personal struggles, the pressure of Nerve, those mysterious angels, all the way to the emotional collapse everyone remembers. The goal here is to give you all the context you need to really understand the journey behind the battles, what each relationship brings out in the protagonist, and why certain choices made by Misato, Asuka, and Rei hit so hard for the audience. If you like this kind of video, go ahead and subscribe, grab some popcorn, and join me, because Evangelion is dense, but we can break it down together. So without further ado, put your headphones on, take a deep breath, and let's get started.
Disgusting.
Amid a state of special emergency, a titanic creature looms on the horizon, an angel. It's not a meteor, not an alien spacecraft. It's something that defies all human comprehension, advancing relentlessly toward Tokyo 3. The military throws everything they have at it, but their conventional weapons shatter against an invisible barrier, the AT field. Not even the N2 mine, humanity's most devastating weapon, can scratch the monster. Worse, it regenerates, as if nothing ever touched it. Humanity is being utterly humiliated. In the chaos of a collapsing city, Captain Misato Katsuragi comes across a lost boy, Shinji Ikari.
Call me Misato, alright? It's nice to finally meet you, Shinji Ikari.
Son of the commander of the world's most secretive organization, Nerve. She rushes him through the crumbling metropolis to a hidden entrance, descending into what seems impossible, a vast underground city called the Geofront. Here lies humanity's final line of defense. And here, Shinji comes face to face with the father who abandoned him. Gendo Ikari wastes no time on emotional reunions. His command is cold and brutal. Pilot it. Pilot what? A towering 80-meter-tall biomechanical weapon, Evangelion Unit 1, Shinji snaps.
Evangelion, this is Unit 1.
After years of being ignored, now this? He refuses, standing up to the father who only calls him when he needs a tool. But the angel doesn't wait for family drama. It's already breaching the base. Gendo summons a backup pilot, Rei Ayanami, but she's a wreck, bloodied, bandaged, barely able to stand. Seeing Rei in that state breaks something inside Shinji. When Misato whispers, "Don't run away from yourself," the impossible happens. Unit 1 moves, on its own, as if to shield him. Shinji changes his mind. He will pilot. Submerged in LCL, a breathable liquid that envelops him completely, Shinji feels the neural sync begin. Unit 1 is launched to the surface, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could prepare him for what comes next. The surface becomes a battlefield, and reality hits hard. Shinji isn't a hero. He's a terrified teenager piloting a weapon of mass destruction. Unit 1 takes a brutal beating. Its skull shatters. Shinji blacks out. Days later, he wakes up in a hospital with no memory of how he survived. Meanwhile, in the shadowy halls of power, Gendo faces a council questioning whether the Evangelion project is worth its astronomical cost. To stop Shinji from shutting himself off completely, Misato steps in as his new guardian. Welcome to the most chaotic apartment in Tokyo 3, complete with warm beer, instant noodles, and a penguin named Pen Pen.
There's him? He's a hot spring penguin.
Misato tries to create a sense of home, but Shinji remains a ghost, haunted by fragments of a battle he can't recall. The truth comes in violent flashbacks. With Shinji unconscious, Unit 1 transformed into something primal and terrifying. The Eva regenerated its own arm, neutralized the Angel's AT field, and tore it apart in a savage, almost feral frenzy. A victory won not by the pilot, but by the beast. Misato tries to comfort him, telling him he should be proud. But how can you take pride in something you don't remember? How do you live as a celebrated hero when your only triumph came from a mindless creature? And deep within Nerve's shadows, Gendo watches. To him, the Berserk incident wasn't an accident. It was a preview of what's to come. Training, endless simulations. Shinji memorizes every evacuation route, every technical limit. Only 1 minute of internal battery power in combat. Meanwhile, Misato and Ritsuko discuss something troubling. Shinji can't seem to make friends. They call it the hedgehog's dilemma. He's afraid of getting close to others for fear of getting hurt. At school, the tension boils over when Toji Suzuhara shows up, burning for revenge. His little sister was crushed by debris during the last battle, and he wants blood, the Eva pilot's blood. When he finds out it's Shinji, the confrontation turns into a beatdown, but the universe doesn't care. The fourth angel appears on the horizon. With Gendo absent, Misato takes full command. Shinji is launched, but he hesitates. Toji's punch still hurts more than any physical wound. Worse, Kensuke and a guilt-ridden Toji disobey evacuation orders and stay behind behind in the war zone to watch it all up close. The Angel is impatient. It destroys Ava's weapon and severs the power cable. Countdown, 60 seconds of battery life. Shinji sees the two boys in the line of fire and freezes. Misato breaks protocol. Get them out of there. The two climb into the entry plug, interfering with the neural sync. Now it's three confused minds trying to steer a war machine. Toji, face to face with Shinji. Don't run. Against all orders, Shinji charges in with the progressive knife. At the final second, with power at 0, he drives the blade into the Angel's core. Victory. But for the first time, Shinji disobeyed a direct order, and somewhere in the shadows, someone is taking notes. Rebellion has a price. Tensions between Shinji and Misato boil over into a brutal argument. He throws it in her face. Piloting is his duty, and results are all that matter. Misato is left speechless. What happened to that shy, quiet boy? Overwhelmed by pressure, Shinji disappears. He wanders aimlessly through the outskirts of Tokyo 3, eventually stumbling upon Kensuke camping out. Kensuke still dreams of piloting an Ava, completely unaware of the burden it truly carries. To him, it's pure glory. To Shinji, it's a cage. The next day, Nerve's security tracks him down. Back at the base, Misato delivers an ultimatum. Either you pilot because you want to, or you walk away for good. I'm done with kids throwing tantrums. Shinji chooses to leave. At the train station, Toji and Kensuke show up to see him off. Toji apologizes for punching him. He finally understands the weight Shinji's been carrying. It's a rare, genuine moment of friendship. The train approaches. 1 foot inside, Shinji sees Misato appear on the platform. No words are exchanged, but their eyes say everything. He stays. Back at Nerve, the life of a pilot resumes.
Welcome back, Shinji.
But now, Shinji is fixated on someone new, the mysterious Rei Ayanami. What's her connection to his father? Why does she show such blind loyalty to Gendo? And most of all, why does she feel so familiar? Test time. Activation of Ava 0. What could go wrong? Everything. The prototype goes berserk the moment it's activated, rejecting Rei and turning into a raging beast trapped inside a metal cage. Gendo doesn't hesitate. He forces open the searing hot hatch with his bare hands, burning his palms until they scar permanently, all to save Rei. The devotion is disturbing. Meanwhile, analysis of the defeated Angel reveals something that changes everything: a 99.89% genetic compatibility with humans. Humanity's enemies are almost human. At school, Shinji watches Rei like she's a walking enigma, always alone, always silent. The others joke about her, but he's genuinely curious. That night, Misato sends him to deliver a new security card to Rei, an obvious excuse to make them interact. Rei's apartment is a wreck. Unlocked door, broken furniture. Shinji stumbles and falls on top of her as she steps out of the shower. Embarrassing situation? For Rei, it's just another Tuesday. She coldly questions Shinji's lack of faith in his father's work. When Shinji finally opens up about his feelings toward Gendo, Rei answers with a sharp slap to the face. Back at Nerve, the Unit 0 test finally succeeds, but the celebration is short-lived. Red alert. The fifth Angel has arrived. A massive floating octahedron looming over the city like a divine threat. Shinji is launched to intercept. The Angel locks on and fires a particle beam that vaporizes entire mountains. Unit 1 takes a direct hit. Shinji is unconscious, possibly dead, and the Angel is just getting started. The particle beam scorches the landscape into molten glass. Unit 1 is wrecked. Shinji might be dead, and the Angel is now methodically drilling through the city's 18 armored layers. Its destination, Nerve's very core. Time left, 10 hours. Direct combat is suicide. Misato proposes the impossible. Operation Yashima, a precision sniper shot using an experimental positron rifle. It's so insane, it just might work. Nerve requisitions the rifle from the JSSDF and a shield fashioned from decommissioned space shuttles. To power the weapon, a nationwide blackout is ordered. All of Japan will go dark to channel enough energy for a single shot. When Shinji wakes up, he's in a state of sheer panic, refusing to pilot again. Rei offers to take his place, but before she leaves, she says something that changes everything.
You're not going to die, because I will protect you.
It's the first time anyone's ever promised to protect Shinji, not the other way around. Something inside him breaks and rebuilds. At Mount Futago, with all of Japan's power surging into the rifle, Shinji takes aim. The pressure is immense. A miss means certain death for Rei and the fall of Nerve. He fires. He misses. The angel retaliates instantly. Rei throws Unit 0 in front of Shinji, absorbing the full blast with the shield as the metal melts around her. The rifle recharges. Shinji takes aim again. This time, the angel's core vanishes. Shinji frantically opens Unit 0's cockpit. Rei is alive, but puzzled by his tears. "How should I respond?" she asks. "Just smile," he says. It's the first genuine smile Rei has ever tried, and maybe the moment Shinji realizes he's not alone in this war anymore.
Smiling would be a good start.
Intelligence leaks, political maneuvering. Nerve is under pressure, but Shinji's home life is thrown into disarray for an entirely different reason. Discovering that Misato, so competent at work, is a complete disaster at home. A chaotic apartment, an empty fridge, a non-existent social life. Ritsuko decides it's time for Shinji to learn the truth. The second impact wasn't caused by a meteor. It was humanity's first contact with a being they came to call an angel, discovered in Antarctica. Nerve exists for one purpose only: to prevent the occurrence of a third impact. Nerve's mission is challenged when a rival weapon is unveiled. Jet Alone, a giant robot powered by an internal nuclear reactor designed to operate without the need for traumatized children as pilots. A heated debate erupts between Ritsuko and the Jet Alone project leader, escalating into a public clash that leaks classified information about AT fields. During the demonstration, the unthinkable happens. Jet Alone suffers a catastrophic malfunction. The reactor begins to overheat. Nuclear meltdown imminent in a densely populated area. Bureaucratic red tape paralyzes any attempt at intervention. Misato takes charge and devises a desperate plan. Shinji will carry her to the runaway robot so she can manually enter the shutdown code. Inside the superheated machine, racing against time and uncovering evidence of deliberate sabotage, Misato succeeds in aborting the meltdown mere seconds before disaster. For Shinji, it's a revelation. Misato isn't just the awkward guardian he knows at home, but a fearless commander, willing to risk everything. But who sabotaged Jet Alone, and why? Some questions are too dangerous to ask out loud. The calm is shattered by the arrival of a human hurricane, Asuka Langley Soryu, the fiery second child and pilot of the brand new Unit 2. Misato takes Shinji and his friends aboard the massive UN fleet, escorting the most advanced Eva ever built. Asuka is everything Shinji is not: confident, arrogant, competitive, and completely lacking a social filter. Her bold personality clashes with Shinji's reserved nature, like two tectonic plates colliding.
He seems like an elf.
Also on board is Kaji, a mysterious man with clear history with Misato and a suspicious interest in Shinji. Their introductions are violently cut short when a colossal aquatic angel emerges and attacks the fleet. Conventional naval weapons are useless against its powerful AT field. Ignoring direct orders, Asuka takes it upon herself to debut Unit 2, the first mass-production Eva, built specifically for combat. On a whim, she pulls a reluctant Shinji into the entry plug with her. The battle starts on the deck but quickly plunges underwater as the angel swallows Unit 2 whole.
It's an angel after all.
Trapped inside the creature's stomach, Asuka and Shinji receive the most insane order yet: pry open the angel's jaws from the inside so two warships can fire their main cannons directly into its core. To succeed, they must synchronize their thoughts and movements perfectly. In a claustrophobic, desperate struggle, they manage to force open the creature's mouth just as the ships arrive, obliterating the angel from the inside out. After the battle, Kaji covertly delivers his true cargo to Commander Ikari. Adam, the first angel, now reduced to an embryonic state. Mission accomplished. Asuka transfers to Shinji's school, permanently altering the group dynamic. Life is about to get a lot more complicated. A new German exchange student at school can mean only one thing: total chaos. Asuka arrives like a whirlwind, grabbing everyone's attention and confronting Shinji the very first chance she gets. Her approach to Rei is calculated. She offers friendship for tactical reasons. Rei's response, she'll accept only if ordered to, infuriates Asuka. At Nerve, the arrival of Ryoji Kaji visibly rattles Misato. Complicated history doesn't even begin to cover the tension between them. A new angel appears in the ocean, but this one comes with a disturbing twist. It splits into two identical entities, a logistical nightmare. Eager to make a splash in her Japanese debut, Asuka completely ignores the battle plan and charges in solo. The result? Utter humiliation. Both Unit 2 and Unit 1 are swiftly taken down, and Nerve becomes an international laughingstock.
The following is a statement by the director of Project E.
Asuka and Shinji blame each other for the disaster. The tension is razor sharp. To defeat the Angel, Ritsuko and Misato come up with a new plan. A perfectly synchronized dual attack. That means forcing Shinji and Asuka to move in together at Misato's apartment and train side by side for 6 grueling days. It's hell. Non-stop arguments, bruised egos, zero teamwork. When it becomes clear that the plan is failing, Misato brings in Rei to run the maneuver with Shinji. They achieve perfect synchronization instantly. The looming threat of being replaced by Rei finally pushes Asuka to commit. During the final battle, their sync is still off, but as they bicker over a tense moment from the night before, when Asuka almost kissed Shinji, they unexpectedly find the rhythm. At the very last second, they execute the synchronized attack and destroy both halves simultaneously. Victory, brought to you by unresolved sexual tension. Shinji still doesn't understand anything about women. A synchronized victory doesn't always mean domestic harmony. Asuka is furious when she learns she won't be joining the school trip to Okinawa. She and Shinji are stuck on standby. During a forced study session, it's revealed that Asuka's low test scores stem from her struggles with Japanese kanji, despite already holding a college degree. Meanwhile, Nerve detects a dormant angel deep within the magma chamber of Mount Asuma. The plan: capture it alive, because obviously nothing could go wrong with that. Asuka is chosen to pilot Unit 2 into the volcano, but she's horrified by the Type D protective equipment. Bulky, hideous, and absolutely not stylish. When Rei volunteers to take her place, Asuka's pride kicks in. She accepts the mission, powered by pure determination. Descending into the magma, braving heat and pressure that would instantly vaporize any human, Asuka locates and secures the dormant angel inside a specialized capture cage. Mission accomplished. Until the angel wakes up, perfectly adapted to the molten environment, it quickly damages Unit 2. The progressive knife is lost during the descent, the armor begins to fail, and Asuka is now trapped inside a volcano with a hostile creature. Shinji throws her his own knife in a desperate attempt to help, but the angel's movements are too fast. That's when Asuka remembers a basic lesson about thermal expansion. She orders the coolant to be pumped directly into the angel's body. The sudden thermal shock causes the creature to shatter instantly. Later, as the team relaxes in a hot spring, Misato reveals a scar from the second impact, a silent reminder that everyone bears wounds from this war. But in the shadows, something bigger is moving, and the next angel won't go down so easily. Tokyo 3 operates under the control of the Magi supercomputers, and although the city seems to function normally, rising tensions lurk beneath the surface. A casual exchange between Fuyutsuki and Misato about bureaucracy turns foreboding when Shinji tries to call his father about an upcoming parent-teacher meeting at school. The call cuts off abruptly. Suddenly, a massive blackout.
A power outage?
Don't be ridiculous. That could never happen.
This isn't a technical failure, it's deliberate sabotage. Main power, backup systems, emergency circuits, everything fails at once. Nerve goes blind and mute. Trapped inside an elevator, Misato, Ritsuko, and Kaji quickly realize the truth. Someone is attacking from within. Unfazed, Gendo and Fuyutsuki reroute what little power remains to keep only the Magi and Central Dogma online. The rest of the base can suffocate for all they care. Elsewhere, in the upper levels, Shinji, Asuka, and Rei find themselves cut off. With no communication, they decide to make their way down to the geofront manually, forcing doors open and navigating pitch-black corridors by feel. Above ground, sensors detect a new angel approaching. Perfect timing for the worst possible moment. A race against time begins. The trio descends through narrow ventilation shafts, endless emergency stairwells, always just ahead of total system failure. They finally reach the command center, where the crew is preparing for a manual Ava launch. Gendo had gambled the pilots would make it in time. With no power, locks are disengaged by sheer muscle, entry plugs inserted using pulleys, and the Ava activated via emergency generators. On the surface, the 8th angel, Matarael, attacks, dripping corrosive acid that eats through everything. The Avas emerge, having lost their rifles and external batteries. Only 3 minutes of internal power remain. Asuka devises a desperate plan. She would use Unit 2 as a shield against the acid. Rei would retrieve a weapon, and Shinji would keep up the attack. Asuka charges forward, enduring the acid to protect the others. Rei dives in freefall down an elevator shaft, recovers a rifle, and hands it to Shinji. With a clear shot, he takes aim and destroys the angel. The moment after, the lights in Tokyo 3 flicker back on.
This is an emergency! I gotta go!
crisis averted, but the question lingers: who sabotaged the systems, and why choose that exact moment? The night of celebration is quickly overshadowed by unexpected news. Misato has been promoted to Major, a career milestone, yet it leaves her feeling hollow rather than proud. During synchronization tests, Shinji shows remarkable improvement, nearing Asuka's levels, a fact that genuinely irritates the German pilot. At the surprise party held in Misato's honor, Shinji confides in her. He doesn't feel happy about the praise he's been receiving. Misato relates, admitting that her promotion feels empty. Amid the revelry, Kaji casually drops a cryptic detail: Gendo and Fuyutsuki are away, on a trip to Antarctica. Coincidence? A global alert cuts through the atmosphere. Sahakiel, a massive angel, is in orbit and falling fast. It's correcting its descent trajectory with uncanny precision, clearly targeting Tokyo 3 like a guided bomb. Conventional weapons are useless against a threat of this magnitude. With Gendo absent, Misato assumes full command and disregards the Magi's recommendation to evacuate. Her desperate plan? Use all 3 Evas to catch the angel mid-fall, synchronizing their AT fields to absorb the impact. The pilots accept the suicide mission without hesitation. As they await deployment, Misato opens up to Shinji. She shares the truth about her past: a brilliant but obsessive scientist father who neglected her and died saving her during the second impact. She joined Nerve out of rage, confusion, and a thirst for revenge against the angels. The angel breaches the atmosphere. Under Misato's command, the 3 Evas sprint toward the projected impact site. In the final seconds, they take position. Shinji at the center, projecting Unit 1's AT field. Asuka and Rei synchronize to reinforce. They catch it, they hold it. Crushed under unimaginable pressure, they manage to halt the fall. Then Shinji, pushing beyond his limits, pierces the angel's AT field and destroys it from within. Mission complete. Gendo appears via video call and for the first time praises Shinji directly. The words strike Shinji harder than any battle ever has. Later, alone in a ramen shop, he finally understands. He pilots the Eva because he craves his father's approval. A dangerous realization, because people desperate for approval will do anything to earn it. A new autopilot synchronization test requires the pilots to enter their entry plugs without suits, a directive that infuriates Asuka, but is essential for gathering data on direct harmonics. During the test preparations, Ritsuko reveals that the Magi supercomputer was modeled after her mother's mind. The test has barely begun when a strange anomaly appears. A biological corrosion rapidly spreads across the facility's walls at an alarming rate. The situation escalates when the corrosive mass manifests an AT field, revealing its true nature: the 11th angel. Unlike any previous angel, this one is a colony of nanomachines, immune to conventional Eva countermeasures. Instead of physical attack, it launches a direct cyber assault on the Magi. Gendo immediately orders the central dogma to be sealed off, willing to sacrifice the entire facility to protect Nerve's secrets. Efforts to sterilize the angel using ozone fail. The entity evolves instantaneously to counter the threat. It begins breaching Nerve systems, tearing through firewalls, and closing in on Magi's core. Ritsuko explains that the Magi system is based on 3 aspects of her mother's personality: the scientist, the mother, and the woman. To combat an entity that adapts faster than it can be countered, she proposes a radical solution: accelerate its evolution past the threshold into either self-destruction or peaceful coexistence. With the angel on the verge of taking full control and initiating Nerve's self-destruct sequence, Ritsuko races against time. Using backdoor access codes left behind by her mother, she develops a counterattack program. In the final moments, she executes it within the Magi, successfully neutralizing the angel. Later, Ritsuko quietly admits that the part of Magi that resisted the angel until the end represented her mother as a woman, uncovering the deeply personal ties behind her scientific victory. But someone was watching. Seal's council doesn't buy Gendo's report that it was merely a false alarm. They suspect he's hiding the truth about what really happened during the invasion. The victory against the digital angel doesn't go unnoticed. Seal confronts Gendo about the incursion, suspecting deception. Gendo denies any wrongdoing, dismissing it as a false alarm, but the warning is clear: do not stray from the scenario. At Nerve, a new phase begins, a cross-synchronization test between pilots and Evas. Rei is up first, syncing with Unit 1. Inside the entry plug, she plunges into a disturbing inner monologue, questioning the very nature of her existence as her body and perception begin to dissolve.
Who are you? Who are you?
After Rei's successful test, it's Shinji's turn to pilot Unit 0. The moment he enters the plug, a familiar scent hits him, Rei's scent. The synchronization process begins, but something goes wrong. Inside the Eva, Shinji feels Rei's presence grow oppressive, and suddenly, hostile. Without warning, Unit 0 goes berserk, rampaging out of control and unleashes a violent attack against the observation room wall where Rei is standing.
Rei! Get back!
The Eva only halts when its internal power runs dry. Shinji is recovered with no memory of the incident, leaving behind a troubling question. Was the Eva rejecting Shinji or trying to attack Rei? Behind closed doors, Gendo and Fuyutsuki discuss Seal's suspicions and the Unit 0 incident. Fuyutsuki comments on Gendo's obsession with Rei as secret projects like Project Atom and the Spear of Longinus continue progressing in the shadows. Something is being concealed about Rei's true nature, and the berserk behavior of the Evas is no accident. With every incident, one truth becomes clearer. These machines have a will of their own, and their goals may not align with those of humanity. Kaji's investigation into the Marduk Institute leads him to a biotech company, just one of 108 front corporations. He confirms what he already suspected. The board of directors is made up of NERV personnel. The institute, supposedly established to identify potential pilots, is merely a cover for Commander Ikari's internal operations. Asuka unsuccessfully tries to ask Kaji out, only to be dragged into a blind date she doesn't even want. Shinji gets closer to Rei, asking her about his father. The conversation is brief, but he notices something striking. Her hands, as she wrings a cloth, seem motherly. The observation visibly unsettles Rei. Misato encourages Shinji to meet with Gendo the following day, reminding him they'll be visiting his mother's grave. During the meeting, Gendo reveals the grave is only a memorial. There's no body, and that he carries her memory within him. A rare moment of connection unfolds, culminating with Shinji playing the cello. He admits he only kept playing because no one ever told him to stop. At a wedding, Misato, Ritsuko, and Kaji cross paths again. The tension and the flirting between Misato and Kaji is unmistakable. Later that night, alone and drunk, Misato's emotional walls finally collapse. She confesses she only got involved with Kaji because he reminded her of her father, a man she despises. Terrified by her own emotions, she admits she's a coward, not so different from Shinji. The confession ends with a kiss.
I know I'm hopeless,
That same night, bored and rejected by Kaji, Asuka impulsively kisses Shinji, only to pull away in disgust, saying the kiss ruined her mood. The next morning, Misato confronts Kaji at NERV. He admits he's a spy, but insists he's working alone. To prove that Gendo and Ritsuko have been deceiving her too, he takes Misato deep beneath the terminal dogma. There, he reveals NERV's most closely guarded secret, a giant angel, crucified and pierced by the Spear of Longinus. Kaji identifies it as Adam, the first angel, and the true cause of Second Impact. The truth Misato uncovers will change everything, but some truths are far too dangerous.
So it seems there's more to Nerve than I originally thought.
Kaji's revelation leaves Misato deeply shaken, while the dynamic in the apartment shifts dramatically. Shinji's success in the synchronization test boosts his confidence, but it fuels Asuka's resentment. She lashes out, accusing him of constantly apologizing just to avoid conflict. Tensions escalate when a new angel appears above the city, a floating black sphere in the sky with no detectable AT field. Provoked by Asuka and feeling overconfident, Shinji volunteers to lead the attack. He advances with Eva 1, but as he closes in, the sphere vanishes. In the same instant, a massive shadow spreads across the ground and swallows the Eva whole.
Shinji, no!
The sphere was bait. The true body of the angel is the shadow itself, a Dirac Sea, a pocket of imaginary space that traps both Shinji and his Eva. With only 16 hours of life support, NERV is left powerless. Ritsuko takes command and proposes a drastic plan. Bomb the shadow with every available N2 mine to try and recover Eva 1, declaring the pilot's survival irrelevant. Misato watches in horror, helpless. Inside the Dirac Sea, Shinji's oxygen and power are nearly gone. In his final moments, he plunges into a psychological journey, confronting his fear of being hated, his fractured sense of self, and his complex feelings toward his absent father. Just when all hope seems lost, Eva 1, even without external power, awakens in a berserk state. The unit tears through the fabric of dimensional space from the inside out, destroying the angel in an explosive frenzy and emerging drenched in blood. Shinji is rescued, but the trauma runs deep. Misato comforts him, but now she fears the very creatures they pilot, questioning whether the Evas are truly allies. In the shadows, Gendo and Fuyutsuki note that Misato is beginning to suspect the truth. The crisis has barely passed when new, grim news arrives. Eva 04 and the entire second nerve branch in Nevada have been vaporized in a mysterious accident. The search for a new pilot is about to begin, and the choice will shock everyone. Nerve's leadership interrogates Misato about the Angel's increasing intelligence. They fear the latest incident may be a prelude to something far worse, a sign that time is running out. Disaster strikes Nerve's second branch in the United States. During a test of the experimental S2 engine, Evangelion Unit 4 and the entire facility vanishes without a trace. Shaken, the US government decides to send the newly completed Unit 3 to Japan. To overcome the limitations of human pilots, Ritsuko unveils the prototype for the dummy plug system, a control module that mimics Rei's thought patterns to deceive the Eva and force synchronization. Though she warns it's only an imperfect imitation of a soul, Gendo orders it be made operational immediately. The identity of the fourth child selected to pilot Unit 3 is decided, leaving Misato stunned. At school, Toji Suzuhara's behavior changes. Withdrawn and unusually quiet, his shift is noticed by everyone, except Shinji. Asuka, snooping through classified nerve data, discovers the truth and is left speechless. In a rare moment of peace, Kaji shows Shinji his secret watermelon patch, sharing a quiet lesson. Knowing pain doesn't make you weak, it makes you more careful. As Unit 3 arrives from the US for activation testing, its assigned pilot remains a secret. Shinji is unaware of the tragedy about to unfold. The reason behind Toji's decision is finally revealed. The only condition for becoming a pilot was that his younger sister be transferred to Nerve's advanced medical facilities. Eva 3 is transported through a violent storm as Misato departs for a 4-day activation test in Matsushiro, leaving Shinji in Kaji's care. The identity of the new pilot remains a secret. The activation test begins. As Unit 3 passes through a strange cloud formation, disaster strikes. A parasitic life form infects the Eva. The test facility erupts in an explosion. What emerges from the wreckage is no longer an Evangelion. It's the 13th angel. An emergency mobilization is ordered. Asuka engages first, but is instantly overwhelmed. Rei moves in next, but the angel infects Unit 0's arm. Following protocol, she severs the limb to prevent further contamination. The burden falls to Shinji. He confronts the corrupted Eva, only to freeze when he sees there's a pilot trapped inside. Despite Gendo's direct orders to attack, Shinji refuses. He can't bring himself to kill another human being. Facing his son's defiance, Gendo makes a ruthless decision. He cuts Shinji's synchronization and activates the dummy plug system, transferring control of Unit 1 to an emotionless artificial pilot. The result is brutal. Unit 1, now a berserk monster, savagely tears the 13th angel apart, crushing the entry plug with its bare hands. Injured, Misato arrives just in time to witness the aftermath. The threat has been neutralized and Shinji is found in shock, but alive. Then comes the crushing revelation. The pilot of Unit 3 was Toji Suzuhara. Shattered by the realization that he was forced to harm his best friend, Shinji makes his final choice. He walks away from Nerve and from Evangelion, but in his absence, the most powerful angel yet descends upon Tokyo 3, and this time, there is no third child left to save them. With the circuits locked by the pilot, Nerve loses control of Eva 1. Shinji refuses to eject, furious at his father for using him to hurt Toji. Gendo orders maximum LCL pressure to force his extraction, treating the rebellion as nothing more than childish defiance. The maintenance crew uses a laser cutter to breach the hatch and forcibly remove Shinji. In the hospital, he remains silent as Asuka scorns him for being weak. Inside his mind, he confronts an image of Rei, who tries to justify his anger toward his father. She challenges him. Has he ever tried to understand Gendo's feelings, or is he just running from his own pain? Toji wakes up disoriented after 3 days and learns Shinji has already been discharged. Before the class rep leaves, Toji asks him to tell his sister he's alright. Shinji is summoned by Gendo. Standing before the commander, he is accused of insubordination and blackmail. His response is firm. He'll never pilot an Eva again and wants to leave. Gendo coldly dismisses him, ordering that the third child's record be erased and Rei designated as the default pilot of Unit 1. As he prepares to leave Tokyo 3, Shinji receives a call from Kensuke, which is abruptly cut off by security. In the car with Misato, he learns a shocking truth. All their classmates were candidate pilots. Misato pleads with him, admitting that everyone at Nerve had placed their hopes in him, but Shinji cuts her off. He wants no part of it. Let them them erase everything. He's not coming back. At that moment, a new angel appears, more powerful than any before. It obliterates 18 layers of Geofront's special armor with a single blast. Asuka is dispatched in Unit 2, but Nerve discovers a critical problem. Unit 1 rejects both Ray and the dummy plug system. The Ava has a will of its own. Just as he's about to board the train, Shinji finds Kaji tending to his watermelon patch. Kaji lays out the gravity of the situation. If the angel reaches the dormant atom, the third impact will wipe out humanity. No one will force Shinji, but whatever choice he makes, it must be his, so he won't live with regret. Asuka is defeated. Unit 2 is rendered inoperative. Ray attempts a suicide attack using an N2 mine, but the angel emerges unscathed. It begins descending the main shaft towards Central Dogma. When all hope seems lost, Shinji appears in the hangar, begging to pilot once more. He enters Unit 1, but there's no power. The systems are dead. Desperate, he screams at the Ava to move. Then, the impossible happens. Unit 1 activates on its own, without any external power source. Sync rate skyrockets beyond 400%. The containment restraints shatter, revealed not as armor, but as bindings meant to suppress its true power. The beast awakens. It charges the angel and devours it, absorbing the S2 engine in a display of raw, primal violence. From the command center, Gendo watches and says quietly, "It's all beginning now."
Is this all part of the scenario, Commander Ikari?
It has begun.
The awakening of Unit 1 and its absorption of the S2 engine sends shockwaves all the way to Seal. The event completely derails their planned scenario, shaking their trust in Gendo. At Nerve, the team relocates to a secondary command center after the main base is left nearly in ruins. Unit 1 lies dormant, but remains dangerously unpredictable. Gendo informs Fuyutsuki that he'll report the incident to Sealy as a regrettable accident, but the real problem is far more serious. Shinji has disappeared. Ritsuko reveals the horrifying truth to Misato. Shinji's body has dissolved inside the entry plug. His physical form has broken down. His consciousness now floats within the LCL, transformed into a kind of primordial soup, echoing the ancient oceans of Earth. She proposes a risky recovery operation to reconstruct his body and reintegrate his psyche. Adrift in the sea of LCL, Shinji's consciousness begins to wander. He confronts the people who define his world, questioning why he even fights. He realizes he battles the angels simply because he was told they're the enemy, but that reason no longer satisfies him. His journey forces him to face the hatred he feels toward his father. Born from years of abandonment, he comes to understand that his motivation to pilot stems from a desperate need for validation. More than anything, he longs for acceptance, for someone kind, who won't require him to prove his worth. Ritsuko initiates the recovery operation, using data from a failed experiment 10 years earlier, an experiment that once involved Shinji's mother. As the team attempts to retrieve his psyche, Shinji's mind is bombarded by voices offering complete fusion, a way to end his loneliness. His consciousness becomes trapped in a looping cycle. The operation fails. Ritsuko orders an immediate abort, but something unexpected happens. A surge of energy radiates from the core of Unit 1, reversing the process. The entry plug is violently ejected. Inside, Shinji lies naked and dazed. The scent of LCL fills his senses, not as a liquid, but as something familiar. He recognizes it. The scent of his mother. Memories return. Her voice. She and his father choosing his name together. He has been reborn. Misato rushes to the platform, overwhelmed with relief and tears. Later, she secretly meets with Kaji. Aware that far more is at stake, she presses him for answers about Nerve's true purpose and the Human Instrumentality Project. Kaji remains evasive, but hands her a mysterious package claiming it might be his last gift. The truth behind Nerve, Atom, and the third impact remains hidden. New conspiracies begin to surface. The angel is subdued, but Nerve now faces a crisis from within. Vice Commander Fuyutsuki has been abducted from inside the facility. Intelligence section names Kaji as the prime suspect and interrogates Misato, digging into her complicated history with him. Fuyutsuki finds himself before Seal's chairman, Keel Lawrence, who has detained him for a forced conversation. The situation sends Fuyutsuki back into his memories, to a time when he met a brilliant bioengineering student, Yui Ikari. To his surprise, Yui became involved with an ambitious and disagreeable man, Gendo Rokubungi, whom Fuyutsuki suspected of being drawn more to Yui's talents and her ties to Seal than to Yui herself. Years later, following the second impact, Fuyutsuki is recruited by Gendo for a classified mission to Antarctica. There, Fuyutsuki witnesses the horrifying truth behind the official lie: a subterranean chamber, a giant of light, and the total annihilation of life. He discovers the sole survivor of the original expedition, a young Misato Katsuragi, catatonic from trauma. Determined to expose the truth, Fuyutsuki confronts Gendo. In response, Gendo reveals Garen's underground base, the prototype Evangelion Unit 0, and Project E, a plan to reconstruct a being known as Adam. He invites Fuyutsuki to help forge a new future for humanity. At Garen, Fuyutsuki reunites with Dr. Naoko Akagi, who is developing the Magi system. As the project progresses, tragedy strikes. During a contact experiment, Yui Ikari vanishes into the Ava's core, leaving behind her son, Shinji. Gendo changes after losing Yui. He proposes the Human Instrumentality Project to Seele and introduces a mysterious child, Rei Ayanami, whose uncanny resemblance to Yui is deeply unsettling. Naoko, Gendo's lover, is consumed by jealousy. When Rei refers to her as an old woman, a phrase she had heard from Gendo himself, Naoko strangles the girl in a fit of rage, then takes her own life. Garen is dissolved and restructured into nerve. Back in the present, Fuyutsuki's memories are cut short when he is freed by Kaji. Before vanishing for good, Kaji leaves a final message for Misato, asking her to take care of his plants and to keep seeking the truth. His words end with a quiet goodbye. Misato struggles with grief as Shinji remains withdrawn, unable to face her. Asuka, reeling from her previous defeat, spirals into a psychological breakdown, her confidence shattered. The truth about the past has come to light, but the cost of knowledge has only just begun. Asuka's mental state deteriorates rapidly, haunted by traumatic childhood memories. She recalls her mother, a nerve scientist who lost her sanity after a failed experiment, treating a doll as her daughter while ignoring the real Asuka. After her mother's suicide, Asuka vowed to become an independent adult who would never need anyone. Now that facade begins to crumble. Her synchronization rate with her Ava plummets. She isolates herself, becoming obsessive and hostile. In a heated argument, she lashes out at Rei, calling her a doll. Rei's calm response that she would die if Commander Ikari ordered it only deepens Asuka's hatred for everything, especially herself. A new angel, Ariel, appears in Earth's orbit, beyond the range of conventional weapons. Seeing this as her last chance to prove her worth, Asuka insists on piloting Unit 2 to intercept it, but Ariel does not attack physically. Instead, it fires a beam of light that pierces Asuka's mind, forcing her to relive buried traumas. Her pride, desperate need for validation, and the pain of maternal rejection erupt in a devastating psychic assault that leaves her mentally paralyzed.
What do I do? I've been soiled. I'm dirty now.
With Asuka's mind collapsing, Gendo makes a drastic decision. He orders Rei to descend to Central Dogma and retrieve the Spear of Longinus embedded in the chest of the crucified giant. Unit 0 extracts the lance and from the surface, hurls it with immense force. The weapon pierces the atmosphere and destroys the angel in orbit, but continues its trajectory, eventually entering lunar orbit and becoming unrecoverable. Asuka is rescued, but her spirit is shattered. The humiliation of being saved by Rei, the person she despises most, is too much to bear. She sinks into hatred, wishing she had died rather than be rescued by her. As Asuka becomes an empty shell, a new angel approaches. This time, it attaches itself to Unit 0, infiltrating Rei's mind and body. To protect Shinji from the threat, Rei prepares to make the ultimate sacrifice, embracing death as she transforms into light and heat, ready to disappear from the world. Kaji's posthumous message reaches Misato, urging her to keep seeking the truth and to care for his beloved flowers. Misato sinks deeper into grief, while Asuka, her confidence shattered, spirals into isolation, depression, and self-loathing. Behind the scenes, Gendo faces Seele's fury over the loss of the Spear of Longinus, yet remains defiant. The uneasy silence is broken by the arrival of the 16th Angel. Gendo orders Rei and Unit 0 to intercept it, using Asuka's Unit 2 as little more than bait. Asuka tries to engage, but her sync ratio has plummeted to single digits. The Ava won't even move. Rei is left to face the Angel alone. It doesn't attack physically. Instead, it attempts to merge with Unit 0, invading Rei's mind. It confronts her with the very concept of loneliness, and for the first time, she feels a sorrow so deep it brings her to tears. Shinji is launched in Unit 1 to save her. To stop the Angel from reaching him, Rei inverts her AT field, containing the entity within Unit 0, and initiating a self-destruct sequence that annihilates them both. In the wake of the explosion, Shinji is paralyzed by grief. His anguish turns to confusion when he finds Rei alive in a hospital room.
Don't you remember?
No,
It's probably because I am the third one.
The truth comes to light when Ritsuko takes Misato deep beneath NERV's headquarters. There, she reveals a hidden tank filled with soulless Ray clones, the source of the dummy plugs. She explains that while the Evangelions were created from Adam, Ray was the only one born with a soul, driven by jealousy of Gendo's obsession and disgusted by the inhumanity of the project. Ritsuko destroys the clones, openly defying him. With his friends gone and the city in ruins behind its protective walls, Shinji reaches his lowest point. But as the sun sets, a new figure steps into his life, a smile on his face that seems to forgive everything. Hope returns when it's least expected, but some blessings come at a cost only a broken heart can bear. The new boy is Kaworu, the fifth child sent directly by Seal. His arrival coincides with the discovery of Asuka in a catatonic state, her synchronization rate at 0, effectively ending her career as an EVA pilot. Kaworu immediately displays extraordinary abilities, synchronizing with Unit 2, Asuka's EVA, without the need to replace the core, a feat previously thought impossible.
First, we need to accept the facts as they are. Then we attempt to explain them.
He seeks out Shinji, who is emotionally isolated, and an immediate deep bond forms between them. For the first time, Shinji feels truly seen and accepted, especially when Kaworu tells him he is worthy of love. But their connection is shattered when Unit 2 activates on its own and begins descending into terminal dogma. NERV detects an angel signature, and the horrifying truth is revealed. Kaworu is the 17th angel, Tabris. Devastated by the betrayal, Shinji launches Unit 1 to intercept him. As they descend through the deepest levels of NERV, Kaworu explains that, as a descendant of Adam, he was destined to reunite with his progenitor and trigger Third Impact, an event that would erase all of humanity. Upon reaching the crucified giant in terminal dogma, Kaworu realizes he's been deceived. The being is not Adam, but Lilith, the progenitor of mankind. Seal used him. With his purpose undone, he accepts his fate. He tells Shinji that only one form of life should inherit the earth, and it must be humanity. He asks Shinji to end his life, claiming death is his only freedom. After a long and agonizing moment of hesitation, Shinji grants his request, crushing the final angel in the hand of Unit 1. Shinji is left shattered by the act of killing the only person who ever offered him unconditional love. With the last angel defeated, the path is clear for Seal's true plan. The end of the angels is only the beginning of the real apocalypse. With the final angel defeated, NERV goes into complete lockdown, but peace never came. The Human Instrumentality Committee, SEAL, reveals its true plan, to seize control of the Evangelion units and force the next stage of human evolution by merging all souls into a single collective entity. Commander Ikari has his own agenda. SEAL's first strike is a massive cyber attack, attempting to breach the Magi systems across global NERV branches. Ritsuko leads the digital defense with expertise, erecting a protective barrier that forces Sealy to abandon its virtual assault and launch a direct military offensive. Japan's strategic self-defense forces storm the Geo front with deadly force. With no anti-personnel defenses in place, NERV HQ becomes a massacre. Amid the chaos, Misato orders the catatonic Asuka to be placed inside Unit 2 and submerged in the underground lake for safekeeping. Top priority, get Shinji to Unit 1. As the troops advance, executing NERV personnel without hesitation, Misato fights her way to Shinji. She finds him paralyzed, gripped by fear and despair. Dragging him along, she confronts him, demanding that he stop running away and make a choice for himself. Mortally wounded during the escape, she gives Shinji a final kiss and shoves him into the elevator leading to Unit 1, dying moments later. In Terminal Dogma, Gendo prepares to execute his own plan. Ritsuko confronts him, attempting to activate the Magi's self-destruct sequence to stop him, but the system, housing her mother's consciousness, betrays her. Gendo executes her in cold blood. At the bottom of the lake, inside Unit 2, Asuka finally reaches a moment of clarity. She feels the soul of her mother protecting her from within the Eva. Her mind and spirit restored, she reactivates Unit 2 and rises from the depths, ready for battle. She faces 9 mass production Evas sent by SEAL. With fierce precision, she takes them down one by one. But when her internal power runs dry, a replica of the Spear of Longinus pierces her AT field. The mass-produced Evas reactivate and, like vultures, rip Unit 2 apart and devour devour it. Shinji finally reaches Unit 1, only to witness the remains of Asuka's Eva. His scream of agony echoes across the Geo front, triggering the third impact. Gendo attempts to initiate instrumentality using Rei, but she rejects him, drawn instead by Shinji's call. Rei merges with Lilith, the second angel imprisoned in Terminal Dogma, taking on a colossal, godlike form. The counter-at field expands across the Earth, dissolving the boundaries between individuals. Humanity returns to LCL, and all souls are gathered into a single sea of consciousness. Within this collective mind, Shinji is forced into a deep, introspective journey. He confronts visions of Asuka and Misato, facing the fear and pain he caused through his inability to connect with others. He's presented with a final choice: remain in a pain-free, unified existence, or return to a world of individual lives, where both suffering and joy coexist. Rejecting the false peace of instrumentality, he chooses the real world, accepting that pain is an inevitable part of human connection. His choice allows anyone who wishes to return to reclaim their physical form. Unit 1, carrying the soul of Yui Ikari, floats into space, a silent, eternal monument to humanity's existence. On a desolate beach washed in a red sea of LCL, Shinji awakens. Asuka lies beside him. He moves toward her and begins to strangle her. In response, she raises her hand and gently touches his face. He stops, collapsing in tears. Looking at him, Asuka utters a single word: disgusting.
Disgusting.